With a high-stakes meeting scheduled with Russia's Vladimir Putin, U.S. President Donald Trump sits down with Ukraine's Zelensky once again at the White House. This time, the focus of the talks is the Tomahawk missile, a mainstay of U.S. military weaponry, and a long-range, high-precision cruise missile that Ukraine is eager to gain access to. Will President Trump rubber-stamp Tomahawk missiles for Kyiv? More importantly, why has the potential supply of Tomahawks triggered the Kremlin? And can these weapons actually turn the tide of the war in Ukraine? Those and other critical questions we seek to answer in our next report.
Tomahawk is a vicious weapon.
Что касается томагавков, то
Росія боїться, що американці можуть дати нам томагавки.
Three world leaders trying to settle a nearly 4-year-long devastating war are stuck on one name. Tomahawk, U.S.-made high-accuracy, long-range weapon that could turn the tide of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. There is speculation that American President Donald Trump is about to rubber-stamp the Tomahawk missiles for Ukraine. Trump is sitting down once again with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for talks at the White House, after a phone call with Russia's Vladimir Putin. At the center of these talks is the Tomahawk.
But did President Putin try to dissuade you from selling Tomahawk missiles?
Well, of course. What do you think he's going to say? Please sell Tomahawks?
No, but did he give you
Is he going to say, please sell those Tomahawks? I really appreciate it. I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea. He really didn't like the idea. No, I said it that way. You have to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, but no, he doesn't want Tomahawk. Tomahawk is a vicious weapon. It's a vicious, offensive, incredibly destructive weapon. Nobody wants Tomahawk shot at them.
Did he specifically ask you not to provide Tomahawks?
So, wouldn't anybody? I mean, it's been in the news. Who wouldn't do that? CNN. Who wouldn't do that? You know? Do you think he's going to say, "I'd love to have Tomahawk sent my way"? I don't think so.
The main topics are air defense and our possibilities with long range to pressure on Russia.
It's too early to talk about the number and the possibilities. Although, frankly, I've already shared our vision with President Trump. But some of these things are probably not for a phone conversation. That's why we'll meet with him.
What are the Tomahawk missiles? Why does Ukraine want them? And is it really a threat to Russia?
It's dangerous. As for Tomahawks, they're a powerful weapon. Granted, they're not exactly modern anymore, but they're powerful and pose a threat. And of course, this won't change the balance of power on the battlefield at all.
The Tomahawk cruise missile has been the mainstay of U.S. armed forces. From Operation Desert Storm against Saddam Hussein's Iraq in 1991, to targeted operations against Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen in 2024, and to strikes on Iranian nuclear sites in June this year, the Tomahawk missile has been in service in the U.S. for 42 years. Made by American firm Raytheon, Tomahawk is a long-range cruise missile. It is propelled by a jet engine and is guided by onboard GPS. These missiles are 6 meters long and can carry a 1,000-pound or around 450 kilograms warhead, including nuclear ones. A Tomahawk flies at subsonic speed and low altitude, which makes it difficult to be detected by ground radar even in heavily guarded airspace. And they are extremely accurate. The latest variants come with advancements. They can loiter near a target and be reprogrammed during flight to switch targets. Its cost? A whopping $1.3 million on an average. What makes these missiles crucial for Ukraine is not just its precision, but also its long range, which is nearly 1,600 kilometers. If supplied to Ukraine, this would give its forces the capability to strike targets deep inside Russia, including capital Moscow and the city of St. Petersburg. For context, Ukraine currently uses weapons such as the British Storm Shadow missile and the U.S. Army Tactical Missile System. These have a range of only 300 to 500 kilometers, limiting targets to those relatively closer to Ukraine's border. Could Tomahawks pose a problem for Russia? Ukraine says it would use these missiles to significantly damage or destroy key military facilities inside Russia, including drone factories and air bases that Moscow's forces use to launch bombers for large-scale attacks on Ukraine. Russian oil depots, convoys of stationary vehicles, and transport choke points are also potential targets. Experts say that while the Tomahawk is a very powerful weapon, it perhaps may not be the game-changer that Ukraine is hoping for. But the fact that Russia's President Vladimir Putin has been making regular statements about America's potential supply of Tomahawk to Ukraine points to the level of concern in Moscow.
Can Tomahawks harm us? They can. We'll be shooting them down and improving our air defense systems. Will this damage our relations, which are now seeing some light at the end of the tunnel? Of course it will. But how could it be otherwise? Using Tomahawks without the direct participation of American military personnel is impossible. This would mark a completely new, qualitatively new stage of escalation, including in relations between Russia and the United States.
After Trump and Zelensky hold talks in Washington, the U.S. president will head to Budapest for talks with Russia's Putin. What's certain is that the Tomahawk is the new point of friction between Trump and Putin. But what remains to be seen is whether the supply of Tomahawk to Ukraine shortens the war and hastens peace, or prolongs it further and escalates the conflict.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.